May the words of my mouth and the meditations of our hearts bring us wisdom for today. Blessed Lord, who caused all holy scriptures to be written for our learning, grant us so to hear them, read, mark, learn, and inwardly digest them. I love this collect for the 23rd Sunday after Pentecost this year, the Sunday before Christ the King, and the next to the last Sunday before Advent. It is good to say this prayer in conjunction with any serious study of Scripture. It is good to remind ourselves that all Scripture can make us more aware of God and our connections with each other and with all those who have gone before us in our tradition. Holy Comforter was the first church I was assigned after my ordination to the diaconate in 2011. Father Mike Tanner opened each Sunday morning Bible study with this collect, and I have prayed it prior to each Bible study class I have been called to lead. At first, that was only when the vicar of Holy Comforter was away. My second church assignment was St. Timothy's on Flat Shoals Road in Decatur. When there was no regular priest in charge, I took on the Wednesday night Bible study. The Wednesday night gathering was an important community activity which fostered spiritual growth and strengthened bonds of friendship. I could not bear to leave them orphaned when Father Dice moved on to another calling. I took on that ministry by my own initiative. As a deacon in the Diocese of Atlanta, my ministry is strictly voluntary, non-stipendiary, that is, without pay. Canon John T.Q. assured the vestry of St. Timothy that they didn't need a clergy person to continue their long-standing tradition of Bible study. But habits of thought don't easily vanish. When a leader is no longer in their usual place, a new leader may not quickly step forward. It takes courage to accept new roles, to shoulder new responsibilities for leadership. I am more inclined to do my work quietly, as St. Paul urged the Thessalonians. In the service of ordination, these words stand out. As a deacon in the church, you are to study the Holy Scriptures, to seek nourishment from them, and to model your life upon them. You are to make Christ and his redemptive love known by your word and example to those among whom you live and work and worship. I do what I can to make Christ and his redemptive love known by my word and example, even though I might prefer to be quiet. My aim is to live a way of life worth imitating. When the Spirit calls, I will speak up. That is an important part of my work. I will certainly try to avoid being a busybody. The word busybody got my attention. I looked at the original Greek for confirmation that is the preferred translation, which it is. A busybody is someone who meddles in the affairs of others without being asked, who gossips rather than engaging in more useful activities. We got to read Isaiah chapter 12 in our first reading rather than what's on your insert. So you may want to look over Isaiah, the portion from chapter 65, if you like. But he spoke of a new heaven and a new earth where people would not labor in vain or bear children for calamity. And in the song that we did here, the first song of Isaiah, he said to trust in God and not be afraid. Then you shall draw water with rejoicing from the springs of salvation. These are encouraging words, and they are echoed by Jesus, but with some additional words to prepare for difficult times. Jesus could foresee the destruction of the temple and Jerusalem. Then some people ask when these things would take place. He didn't answer that question directly. When did Jesus ever answer a question directly when a thought-provoking comment was more memorable? I chose the word memorable intentionally. Someone needed to remember Jesus' words for them to be written down for our learning. His response, according to Luke, "Beware that you are not led astray, for many will come in my name and say, 'I am he,' and the time is near. Do not go after them. When you hear of wars and insurrections, do not be terrified." Do not fear. Do not be terrified. Do what you can to calm others' fears. Sometimes people ask me, what does a deacon do? For the past 14 years, I have assisted the gathering of worshiping communities in 2 nursing homes. People there are unable to go to their previous church homes, so we, that is, our team, go to them. We sing, we read scripture, we preach short homilies, and we have prayers that include Holy Eucharist. This could not be as life-giving as it is without our sharing this ministry. Teamwork, supporting each other is very important. Our singing is quite lively. We choose hymns that are familiar to most of our congregants. One gentleman regularly attends our services with his wife of 70 years, who frequently doesn't even recognize him. His favorite request is trust and obey. When we walk with the Lord in the light of his word, what a glory he sheds on our way. While we do his good will, he abides with us still, and with all who will trust and obey. His witness of trust and obedience is an inspiration to us all. So that is one of my ministries. Since 2011, I have volunteered with the Friendship Center at Holy Comforter. We encourage people who have been marginalized by mental challenges and poverty. The Friendship Center offers a number of opportunities for meaningful work in gardening and the arts. I help with textile arts, mostly weaving with the several looms that give people with limited cognitive abilities the pleasure of seeing fabric appear from their own actions. After we have set up the looms with warp threads, moving the shuttle back and forth and alternating the treadles is relatively simple. One of our weavers is blind. He can tell by feeling if the weft is correctly placed. For the past 5 years, I have gone each week during the academic year to read to a child at Flat Shoals Elementary School as part of a structured program to improve reading comprehension and increase vocabulary. I have been able to mentor the same child for 2 consecutive years, 4th and 5th grades. Now I am mentor to a 3rd child who is in 4th grade. I expect I will be reading to her next year when she is in 5th grade. There is always a need for more volunteers. Let me know if you want more information about this work. My chief ministry here at St. Bart's has become that of helping people become more aware of the persistent problem of systemic racism. This is something that I have been working on since I was 15 years old. It is astonishing and frustrating to see how difficult it is to influence others to broaden their perspective, to see from the point of view of someone who has fewer advantages and many more challenges than they have. I don't mean to suggest that I think I have all the answers to thousands of generations of unequal opportunity. There's a lot more work to do, and God is not through with me yet. I am delighted to be part of the group committed to studying the curriculum developed by the National Episcopal Church called Sacred Ground. It is geared to teach white people about unconscious bias and the foundation of the system of racial discrimination that is so much a fact of American life. Our dialogue groups have met twice, and the discussions have been very positive. People clearly feel safe enough to share stories that are quite personal and sometimes painful. This is how we build community, by telling our own stories and listening, really listening to others tell their stories. I'm very grateful for the transformative power in the stories we find in Scripture. St. Paul wrote, "Brothers and sisters, do not be weary in doing what is right." It is not always easy to know what is right. The words of the gospel may be confusing and seem contradictory at times. You will be hated by all because of my name, but not a hair of your head will perish. But Jesus has assured us that he will be with us and will give us wisdom. He has promised, by your endurance, you will gain your souls. Brothers and sisters, don't get weary till the work is done.